So this video is about perception. And this is what I do. This is exactly what I do in my practice. I help you see what's really going on in your life, and we change your perception. And I also use clinical hypnotherapy to do that, which is just, like I said, a relaxed, it's a little deeper than meditation, but it's not like what you see on television and stage shows. It's very different. But any of us can change our perception at any time. And I want to give you a really good example of how it's happened to me. So when I first started, I was better walking, and I could walk with my cane. My husband and I would go on these walks. We still do. And we could walk. I write about this in my book, actually. We would walk by this bookstore, and there's a set of stairs. And there's probably only like 4 or 5 very wide, very shallow stairs. You could actually just jump from the top to the bottom if you wanted. They were so shallow that you barely have to step. And I remember trying to walk down those stairs thinking, I can't do it. There's no possible way I can do it, because my brain wasn't ready to make that kind of move. And when I would look down those stairs, it looked like I was climbing down Mount Everest. I was really scared. And I remember one time I was walking, and I was going down those bloody stairs again, and I saw this man who was before me, and it turned out he had had a stroke, and his whole right side was paralyzed, so he couldn't walk. I mean, he could walk, but he couldn't move his right side. And his lovely wife was waiting at the bottom of the stairs for him. Well, he said to me, go ahead, because he knew he was going to take longer to get down the stairs. And I did, because he asked me to, so I went forward. I was a little invalid traipsing down the stairs. And at the bottom of the stairs, obviously I needed to stop for a minute, and his wife started talking to me. And she was asking me what happened, and I told her. And then the husband was coming down the stairs, and they both told me what happened to him. He had suffered from a very serious stroke. And I will never forget this man, because, I believe spirit works in strange ways, and this man taught me a lot. And I was only with him for about 5 minutes. But what he taught me, the first thing he said, and I'm going to be careful the way I said this, he said, don't trust the doctors. And I'm not so, I do trust doctors. But in his case, they had said, you're never going to walk again, because he wasn't supposed to. And he said, no, I am going to walk again, because he believed he was going to walk, period. And I'm not saying not to trust the doctors. I'm not even going to go into this subject, because every scenario is different. Okay. But I also know that if we truly believe something, and sometimes things can happen that aren't supposed to, and sometimes they can't. Depends on what you were supposed to experience this lifetime, in this lifetime. So anyway, he's walking, and he said, nobody is going to tell me that I'm not going to walk again. And the man was walking, and talk about being disabled. And his wife was so happy, and he was so happy, and they were walking to go to the movie theater across the street. Well, when I saw that, I thought to myself, this man really has this belief that he's going to walk. This is going to happen. So I continued walking. Well, many, many months later, maybe even a year later, my husband and I are going for the same walk, and we go down those stairs. And all of a sudden, I'm looking at these stairs, and I'm standing there, and I'm saying, Michael, these stairs aren't like hiking down Mount Everest. Look at them. They're nothing. An infant could walk down them. It's nothing. They're shallow. Just hop, skip, and a jump. Now, can I do that? No, not yet. But I mean, I can get down them. I could probably do it without a cane, I think. But it's nothing like what I saw before. And I said to my husband, I said, interesting, because my perception was I couldn't do it. It was hard. I did it, but it was hard. And now looking at how easy these stairs are to walk down, I realized how distorted my perception was and my belief system. Now, because I had this brain surgery, I mean, it really was difficult. My brain couldn't figure out what was going on. So physically, logically, and rationally, it really was difficult. But I was also feeling so horrible about what was going on and miserable. And I took that on for very good reason. But some days are good, some days aren't. But because of the way I was thinking, it became harder than maybe it could have been. Do I think it would have been hard? Yes, I do. But maybe not as hard. Maybe I didn't have to be so afraid. Okay, my brain's not working. I'm afraid. Or my brain's not really working. It's not taking in all this, but that's okay. I'm going to walk down the stairs. See the difference? I can be afraid and paranoid and be petrified to go down the stairs, or I can say, okay, my brain's having some trouble, but I know logically and rationally that these stairs aren't so terrible. And yes, it's going to take me time, but I'm going to do it. It's all about perception. Our outer reality is a reflection of our inner reality. We look at this and I thought, oh, this is going to be terrible and horrible. I can't do it. And believe me, it was hard. And it was hard, but my whole point is I made it more difficult. And then I met this man who was worse off than I was, but he wasn't thinking how difficult the stairs were. He had his limitations, yes. But what he was thinking is how grateful he is he could walk. And he believed that he was going to walk again, and he did. I have believed that I'm going to get better, and I am getting better each and every day. I cannot let those thoughts creep in that I'm not going to get better. You cannot let these thoughts creep in to you. If you know you're not going to get better, then you better start thinking something else to think about that's positive. What else can happen in your life? There's always something. I don't care what it is. There's always something. I thought I might be in a wheelchair, but I thought, well, I'll be alive for my daughter. I can coach my clients. It's a lesson. I'm going to have to detach from the illusion that this is wrong. Hear that? I have to detach from the illusion that ending up in a wheelchair is wrong. Hey, it's not fun, but it is what it is. You have to learn to deal with it, not catastrophize every event. So it was really interesting to go see this staircase that I was going down, and it was just like night and day how different my thinking was. And I wish at that time, but it is what it is. And if I hadn't gone through that experience, I couldn't sit here and talk about it now. I couldn't be even more aware of my perceptions around everything in my life. If something is difficult for you, yes, it can be difficult and you can acknowledge it. But just change your perception around it. Yes, it's difficult, but it's okay. I can do it. I'm not afraid. It doesn't have to be scary. If somebody leaves you in a relationship, it's not fun, but it doesn't have to end your life, right? Things that we do, success, people, nothing validates us. We have to validate ourselves and accept who we are at that time and make it okay and move forward. So watch your perceptions. If you're somebody that thinks that someone's going to rob you, steal from you, then you're going to look at things in a fearful way, thinking this is what's going to happen. I always say this. You have to be really careful what you allow to go in your head. And if you can do that, you're going to find a lot of peace. And I can tell you that I have worked with perception for 3 years now. I can perceive myself as being an invalid, and I say it as a joke because it isn't a joke, but it's at this kind of, it's kind of funny. When you see me slumber around, I always say I'm not a drunken sailor. But I've changed my perception. I did from day one. This is happening to me. I'm going to learn a lot of lessons. I'm not going to have fun sometimes, but I'm going to change my perception and say, you know what? Thank goodness for the first time in my life, I've always worked. I could sit on my couch and see my daughter come in and out of the house every single day, home from school, going to school, because I never got to see that before. And it was the greatest gift I could ever possibly imagine and still can. It was such a privilege for me to watch her walk through that door and feel like a mom. And I'm not saying if you can't do that, you're not a mom. It's just for me, it was like, wow, I'm being that typical mom. I'm here and every day she comes home, I'm here. And I think that's pretty cool because a lot of us can't do that. And that's okay too. There's nothing wrong with it. But I had to change my perception. I could lay on the couch and be miserable and think, woe is me. Or I could say, hey, it's okay. I'm going to admire the painting in front of me. And I get to see my daughter when she comes home. What a gift. So I invite you to write down 5 things that disturb your peace, and how can you change your perception around it? Because no matter how difficult things are, you can.